And if you go to somebody and somebody says to you, you can't do that, tell them, shut up. I ain't asked you to discourage me. Encourage me. A lot of you have had dreams. A lot of you still have dreams. Make them happen for you. That's your whole life right there. Your dreams are your life. And you know how you get your dreams to come true? No doubt. A lot of people think they have to be reserved and quiet. Whatever you dream, that's it. Follow it through. You put it in your heart, and you hold it there, and you do it without any doubt. And since we all still here, alive and got time, put your hands together if you intend to get it right. Do it right, come on. Running hot, running cold. I was running into overload. It was a strange. I got a new attitude. Hey! Money makes the world go round, the world go round, the world go round. Money makes the world go round, it makes the world go round. Giuri piangeria pur devesa mia. La voce e sento franciama e lo mi penso ancora ritorna. I never really want the things that I can never get. I only want you to tell me that you love me. Promise me anything and I'll be happy if I can only get your love. 'Cause I am love and I'm in love with you. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Creole et maman love. Don't ever feel it. Please believe it.
Hey friend, welcome to my channel Karina Lude, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars in history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload. Let's get into this video. Today we are talking about the icon Lola Falana, also known as the Black Venus and the Queen of Las Vegas. She was a big talent in a small package, a triple threat dynamo who could do it all: act, sing, and dance. She is intelligent and fluent in Spanish, Italian, and English. She was the highest paid performer and showgirl in Vegas during her heyday and had the world at the palm of her hands. But it all came crashing down and she had a complete transformation and left fame behind. She now speaks against the industry and despises being called a star, saying it's a filthy word. She traded in sequins, costumes, and glamorous jewels for more low-key and covered-up styles. What caused her to make such a dramatic turn? Well, to answer these questions, we must first start from the beginning. Who is Lola Falana? Lola was born in Camden, New Jersey as the third of 6 children. Her parents were Bennett, an Afro-Cuban who served in the U.S. Marine Corps and later became a welder, and Cleo Falana, her mother, was an African-American seamstress. It was evident from a young age that Lola had a natural talent for music and dance. By 3 years old, she was already dancing, and by 5 years old, she was singing in the church choir. In 1952, when Lola was around 10 years old, her family of 8 moved to Philadelphia. Despite their wishes for her to focus on schoolwork at this young age, Lola had already begun pursuing her musical career. She started going to nightclubs with her mother as escort, where she would perform in front of crowds. At Germantown High School, Lola continued to pursue music while also studying drama and taking ballet classes after school hours. It wasn't long before she began landing gigs outside school too, performing in local clubs and even getting featured on local television shows. At 15 years old, Lola decided it was time for a change. She dropped out of high school so that she could focus solely on show business and hone her skills as an entertainer even further than what she had been doing until then. Of course, her parents did not approve. She often slept in subway stations before finding work. This move paid off really well for her because soon after that decision is when things started really picking up for her career-wise and eventually got to where she is today. Falana's first dance job was in 1958 when she was 16 years old and Dina Washington was performing in a nightclub in Philadelphia. So she went to try out to dance for Dina Washington, and when she was trying out, the strap of her outfit broke and she heard a little laugh from Dina Washington. Being embarrassed, she put the strap in her mouth and continued dancing and killed it, and was hired on the spot and was performing that same night for Dina Washington. Talk about perseverance, right? Washington gave her the opening act spot to dance. Falana's early career was helped by Washington, who was known as the Queen of Blues. Falana was found by Sammy Davis Jr., while she was dancing in a chorus line in Atlantic City, New Jersey. He gave her a lead role in his 1964 Broadway musical, Golden Boy. Falana got her start in music after the musical, which came out in 1964. In 1965, My Baby, which was her first single, was recorded and put out by Mercury Records. In the later part of her career, she made records for Frank Sinatra's label. Falana was taught by Sammy Davis Jr. at the end of the 1960s. Davis gave Falana her first film role in A Man Called Adam in 1966, which also starred himself, Ossie Davis, and Cicely Tyson, which I did a breakdown for. From 1966 to 1967, Falana was one of Italy's biggest stars on TV and in the movies. While making 3 movies in Italy, the first of which was a spaghetti western, she learned to speak Italian very well. She was a showgirl on the main Saturday night TV show Sabato Sera, where she worked with the famous singer Mina. People called her the Black Venus. During this time, she was on tour with Davis as a singer and dancer, making movies in Italy and playing the same role in the London revival of Golden Boy. Falana and Sammy Davis Jr. stopped working together closely in 1969, but they stayed friends. She told TV Guide, "If I hadn't broken away, I'd always be known as the little dancer with Sammy Davis Jr. I wanted to be known for more than just one thing," end quote. In 1970, she starred in her first American movie, The Liberation of L.B. Jones. For her role, she was nominated for the Golden Globe Award for New Star of the Year actress. The same year, she posed for Playboy magazine. In those early years, she also starred in a few movies considered to be the blaxploitation genre. She appeared at the Val Air Balloon sponsored by Black Pride Inc. in 1978. With all this fame, you may be shocked to know that Lola was often insecure about her talents. She had always had doubts about her abilities, saying, "I wasn't the best ballet or tap dancer, I just needed to make money," and said she never sought fame. The doors just opened. Falana described this period of her life to Jet magazine in March of 1990, saying, "I was out on the road dancing and singing my heart out and shaking that thing. And then I found that every time I would go back to my hotel room, I was crying. I didn't like the person I had to transcend into because I was already changing," end quote. She gave God credit for her position in life because she felt often that she wasn't deserving, comparing herself to other talents. She stated, "God had given me a little bitty talent and he was helping me make the most of it," end quote. Falana became known to people in the United States through TV in the early 1970s. She was on a Joey Bishop show in the Hollywood Palace a lot, where she showed off her skills in music, dance, and light comedy. More chances came from these appearances. Falana was a guest on a lot of popular TV shows in the middle of the 1970s, like The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, The Muppet Show, Laugh-In, and The Flip Wilson Show. She was also the star of her own TV specials. There's a Man Out There Somewhere, a disco song by Falana, reached number 67 on the Billboard R&B chart in 1975. In the same year, she went back to Broadway to be the main character in the musical Dr. Jazz. Falana was nominated for a Tony Award and won the 1975 Theatre World Award. With help from Sammy Davis Jr., she brought her act to Las Vegas and became a top draw there. By the late 1970s, Falana was considered the queen of Las Vegas. She played to sold-out crowds at the Sands, the Riviera, and the MGM Grand hotels. Finally, the Aladdin offered her $100,000 a week to perform a week, and during the 70s, that was a lot, guys. At the time, Falana was the highest paid female performer in Las Vegas. Her show ran 20 weeks a year and became a major tourist attraction. Now, as far as her relationships, after Sammy Davis Jr.'s divorce with his wife, Mae Britt, in 1968, it became public knowledge that he had an affair with Lola Falana, her mentor at the time. This also made a lot of people think, no wonder her career was going off so fast. He was helping her with everything, put her in her first movie, helped her with Vegas, everything, right? This affair took place sometime between 1965 and 1968. Falana married Feliciano Butch Tavares Jr. in 1970. He was one of the 5 brothers who made up the R&B and soul vocal band Tavares. They later divorced in 1975, and she hasn't dated since, but we'll see why as we continue in this video. Falana shared an interest in the paranormal and spiritual side of things for a long time. In her heyday, she chatted with Johnny Carson about her involvement with a parapsychology expert at UCLA, in which her hands were photographed and their aura studied, and her interest in seances, Ouija boards, and other other forms of supernatural explorations. But all this is about to take a dramatic turn. Falana's vision began to blur in June 1987, and she had difficulty controlling her voice. In December, shortly after taping a Motown Christmas special with Red Fox, she woke up from her bed and fell down 5 times. Her left side was completely paralyzed. Falana had MS, a chronic degenerative and incurable central nervous system disease. Joseph Schenck, her manager, canceled nearly $2 million in nightclub and concert bookings. And this is a quote from her saying, "What a difference a day makes." Falana told Jet in August 1989 of her situation. "One day I'm standing tall and listening to fan applause, and the next I'm a cripple lying in bed reading fan mail," end quote. Falana turned to her friends, neighbors, family, and God instead of modern medicine. As she recovered in the Los Angeles home of Brenda and Lionel Richie, comedian Dick Gregory prescribed a diet of fresh fruit, vegetables, and water. Her exercise regimen included weights, a stationary bike, a treadmill, stair climbing, a trampoline, and physical therapy despite excruciating pain. She began to recover in less than a month. Falana's disease went into remission after 5 more crippling attacks over the next 18 months. In the early 1988 interview from her Las Vegas home, Falana described her experience to Jet saying, "I could always get up and move my body and make a living or just feel good about myself. Then I woke up one day with a crooked face, a crooked mouth, and dragging limbs. And I said, okay, it's not about physical prowess or glamour anymore, Falana. All the gifts that you counted on, that you identified with as yourself, are no longer present. So I took inventory and I looked at my little bag to see what I had left over. I had one jewel left in the bag, the brightest jewel of all. I had the gift of faith," end quote. Later that spring, Falana performed Proud Mary with Wayne Newton on the stage of the Las Vegas Hilton. Although clubs were hesitant to hire her for her fear of relapse, Falana returned to the Sands in July for several sold-out performances in Spanish, Italian, and English. Jet reported in August of 1989 that she had announced the first night, "I'm back." When an audience member asked if she were cured, she replied, "I'm not cured, but I'm healed. Cure is what medicine does. Heal is what God does." By early 1990, Falana had offers in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Atlantic City, and Boston. She appeared on television talk shows and spoke on college campuses. But Falana was transforming herself from sex symbol to spiritual leader. She later told People Weekly, and I quote, "My car just pulled into the parking lot of a Catholic church. I went in and something inside of me said, 'Welcome home,'" end quote. Falana made her decision to become a nun and revealed that she had been celibate for about 13 years from the pulpit of Christ Universal Temple in Chicago in the early 1990s. According to an article in Jet in March of 1990, she told the congregation, and I quote, "When I was growing up, I wanted to be like everything I saw in the movies, on television, and in videos. Hot, sassy, sexy. I went and studied hard to learn how to be hotter and sexier and more appealing to the world. The mother of Jesus, they call her Our Lady. That's the image of a lady I want to be. I don't want to boogie when I walk. I don't want to shake that thing no more. I just want to be a lady," end quote. Falana claims the Virgin Mary appeared to her after she witnessed the stigmata in a film, and she converted to a Catholic on Christmas Day 1991 at a Carmelite monastery. As detailed on her Lambs of God website, Falana returned to Philadelphia, where she now resides with her mother, Cleo Twine, and stepfather in a 2-story brick home in a middle-class neighborhood, and no longer wears sequins or revealing costumes. Falana went on the road once more, this time to share her evangelical Catholic testimony and deliver motivational talks. She began by introducing a movie on the psychological effects of abortion called Bridging the Tears. Falana established a Catholic social media platform in 2002 named the Lambs of God Ministries to aid the 13 million children in sub-Saharan Africa who have lost both parents to the AIDS pandemic. The ministry partnered with Save Sub-Saharan Orphans. A staggering 1 million of these kids had the virus. Through the funds they raise, SSSO is able to assist orphanages with necessities like food, clothing, and medical attention. Lola Falana shared her story and the impact SSSO has had on her life on the Trinity Broadcasting Network's Praise the Lord on March 20th, 2003. She has had a resurgence in popularity from TikTok and Instagram edits of her old throwback glamour clips, where this generation is just now discovering the gem that she was. I'm always tagged to her videos from so many of you who watch, like, Kareem, please do her. I'm like, oh, look at them discovering who Lola Falana is. She is such a beauty. I think burnout also played a major role in her life changes as well. There's a lot of illnesses science is just now discovering that stress cause, where a lot of people don't know it. You know, overworking. She had a 20 weeks a year. 20 weeks a year is a lot to be performing in Vegas, memorizing dances, wearing different costumes, not sleeping. And on top of that, she was doing TV shows, interviews, magazine covers. She was overworking herself a lot. She was very, very popular during her heyday. Like, there's songs that were made about her. Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl. Like, you guys, there's songs about her out there. She was just a big deal, and it just seemed like she just disappeared out of thin air. But the industry also does that. Whenever someone changes their life and they don't want to be part of the industry anymore, they kind of, not blackball them, but they don't push their work out as much anymore. It's kind of like, okay, you're dead to us. Since you dropped us, we're dropping you. Her popularity just lessened. She doesn't want to be called a star. She doesn't want to be relevant or push herself out there. She's pretty happy where she is. I really do think burnout played a role, because with many diseases, stress really creates a lot of illnesses, different cancers, ulcers. How many starlets have I done breakdown for on this channel that had ulcers in their brain issues, that they just ended up being so exhausted from overworking, it developed so many illnesses in them. And I really think that little break she took, when that month she was just eating healthy, that helped her recover very well. Sometimes your body is just crying out for break, and who knows, I haven't found anything in my research that stated that she was, you know, living the high life in terms of substance use, but she was in Vegas and she was in the era of the hippie performing a lot. And if you watch her performances, you know, I'm not saying that, of course, that's in my personal opinion. There's nothing out there. She's never spoken on this or given a testimony or anything on this. But if you watch people under the substance that perform, she was very animated performer in that sense, right? So who knows, that could have been an issue also, which creates a lot of illnesses where they're paralyzed on one side of their face. I think Justin Bieber, you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, had a similar situation where this one side of his face was paralyzed also. And a lot of people don't talk enough about how the high life, burnout, overworking, substance really creates a lot of illnesses in a lot of our favorite starlets. Usually when stars are doing so much so soon, their careers always end up crumbling. It's better to pace yourself. If you're a regular person watching this, listen from me, because it's not just starlets. I have people that are workaholics that are in my life, that are in the office 24/7. They never go home and rest. They're running on 4 hours of sleep, okay? Pace yourself and take things slowly, focusing also on your health and well-being before your body forces you to take care of yourself. I'm happy for Lola Falana's journey. I'm always very supportive of starlets who walk away from the industry. Religion and spirituality aside, the industry is a very draining and mentally damaging ordeal. It's rare for a star to leave unscathed. So much is thrown at them so fast that you can look at your favorite performer smiling and energetic on stage one day, and the next day you get the news that they ended their own lives and was battling depression for a long time. So good for her for walking away no matter the cause, and now just taking care of herself, going out there and trying to be a positive light. Comment below, what did you learn about this video? What are your thoughts? I'm really interested to learn about your thoughts. If you're a workaholic, take heed to the advice. Okay, I'm not saying that's what happened to her, but still, you know, it's good advice. I love you guys so much. If you like the music you're listening to, the link is in the description. Support my brother. Until next time.